This model from Tonkin comes in a very high quality outer shipping carton, and that provides good protection to a high quality Nooteboom branded box. Looking underneath, it's a Tonkin replicas model, with Techno holding the license for the Volvo tractor, and there's a nice holographic Nooteboom badge as well. Lifting off the lid, the model is protected by high quality black foam, and it certainly securely holds the model parts in place. In fact, the foam possibly does too good a job because it's very rigid, so it does take some effort to pull out the parts from the foam. Maybe a softer foam would be better because the hard foam is more likely to snag and damage some delicate parts. But with the parts all out, let's see what else we've got, and there's a plastic certificate. And also in the box is a nice little manual. It has a parts list which covers the trailer but not the Volvo, and there are easy step-by-step instructions on how to configure the model. It's all good quality information and it's easy to follow. So in this respect, Tonkin are certainly setting a good standard for the future. The other half of the manual is a reprint of information about the real trailer, and this is also well worth having because it explains something about the trailer, and there are also some good photos that show the kind of loads the real trailer carries. However, the model was not perfect out of the box, with the passenger side door mirror broken off, possibly due to the hard foam. But once again, it was an easy fix for our old friend Super Glue. But there was also another missing item, which was a front mud flap, and that wasn't in the box. For the assembly, we'll put the whole model into road-going formation, and we'll start by joining the 6-line multi-PX module to the 2-line multi-dolly. The connection is very strong because the beam and sockets interlock, and then the two are secured with a large, robust screw. So there's no doubt it makes a very strong connection, although on the review model the deck was just slightly out of level across the joint, possibly due to paint thicknesses within the components. The exact same process then fixes the gooseneck to the multi-dolly. One nice small detail is that there are rubber interconnecting hoses, and they make a realistic looking connection between the components. The last part of the vehicle to assemble is attaching the Volvo to the trailer, and as you would expect, that's easy to do with the kingpin on the trailer clipping into place on the fifth wheel. Next we can add some detail, and the first is to build the sides of the box on the gooseneck, and these are nicely fitting components which clip into place firmly. Then there are a couple more bits to add. There are 2 spare wheel holders and they clip into place firmly as well and don't wave about, and a plastic generator can also be added. One small and quite fiddly detail to add are the landing legs onto the gooseneck. They slot in okay and you pin them in the up and down position with a very small pin, and you have to be careful because it's easily lost. The last thing to do is to add 2 width markers at the back. These press into holes on the trailer, but they are a relatively loose fit. The detailing on the Volvo chassis looks good, but the steering linkage bar between the 2 axles is rather more functionally modelled. The wheels are very detailed with soft rubber mud flaps on the front axle, but the most impressive looking part is the modelling of the front, and the big chrome grille certainly stands out. Behind the cab there are coiled lines and nice textured surfaces. Looking underneath the gooseneck there are hoses which add detail, but some of the best detailing is on the side where the control console is visible. Looking underneath the multi-PX module there are hoses and tanks, and there are even tiny graphics on the Pendle wheel assemblies. In fact, the standard of all the detailing on the top surface and edges is very high, and a particularly nice touch is how the anti-slip surfacing has been rendered in the paintwork. The details at the back are very good, particularly those around the number plate. Here we are with the Volvo on the Cranes Etc. test track, and it drives reasonably well in a straight line. The front wheel mountings are a little bit loose so they wobble slightly, and at the rear the wheels are fixed to common axles. The Volvo does have link steering, but although it's functionally modelled, the range of movement is small. So you can pose it turning, but certainly not sharply. The other feature on the Volvo is that it has a tilting cab, and it can pose in the tilted position and let you see a detailed engine underneath. There is another spare part in the box, and that's an additional 5th wheel, and that gives you some flexibility because it can accommodate a trailer with a larger kingpin size. One very nice touch on the gooseneck is that the kingpin has its own little turntable, And the gooseneck also features working rams. These are stiff and hold any pose, and a small amount of movement is possible. Moving on to the Multi-PX module, it's a heavy part so it rolls very nicely. And each of the wheel sets has independent sprung suspension. In terms of steering, it's linked and proportional, so the rear wheels steer more than those at the front. So that was the real trailer. Let's try out the model, and it steers in a nice curve. Flying in from the right comes the multi-dolly, and it's got very similar functionality with excellent suspension. And there's also linked steering on the wheel sets, and they turn in parallel rather than proportionally. There is another small working feature on the trailer, and that is that there are extendable beams which pull out to increase the width. Because they're long, they're quite solid and don't wiggle about, but there's no board supplied with the model to span between them. The other area of functionality on the trailer is that it's extendable just like the real trailer, and the beam smoothly pulls out to increase the length, so let's put a tape on it. And fully extended, the model is about 23 inches or 59 centimetres long. Of course, a model like this looks its best when it's got a load on, so let's try it with a big Sarans Kobelco crawler crane. With a bit of careful placement, it can go onto the deck without the deck having to be extended, and then it smoothly drives off to the Cranes Etc. review laboratory. Another possibility for displaying the model is without the multi-dolly, and again it looks impressive with another crane load on board. This is a very nice first model for Nooteboom by Tonkin Replicas, and its particular plus point is the high standard of detailing and finish. No doubt this particular model will appear in a number of different variations and colour schemes, and if you are looking for a high quality heavy haulage model, then this one is outstanding.